The highly anticipated Marvel movie, The Marvels, is out now and is divisive to say the least. If you haven't been following the news on The Marvels, then you won't know that that's actually a joke and it's definitely not highly anticipated. I don't want to take a poo-poo on it real early because there's actually some aspects of it I really like. Welcome back to Fantasy Theory. Warning, there will be some spoilers in this video, so click off if you don't want the movie to be spoiled, but come back for the review later. I just want to give a quick review and talk about what I thought about The Marvels. Before we start, I would love for you to go down in the comments and tell me what you thought of the movie, if you saw it, and if you're not seeing it, why not? Let's jump right into it. Let's start with my overall rating of the movie. Initially, I gave this movie a 4 out of 10, but after thinking about it, I changed my rating to a 5 out of 10. The reason being 4 is a bit too harsh. 5 is middle of the way. Just okay. Had some good moments, had some bad moments, but overall just okay. The cast I think works well together. Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau were good, and Miss Marvel, like the early reviews said, really pushed through in this movie. Really pushed through meaning I don't believe she stole the show, but she's definitely a highlight. I wasn't a big fan of her show, but this movie I feel made her character a lot more likable for me. Miss Marvel's family was also really great comedic relief. However, it did feel like most of the characters were comedic relief. For example, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury felt like he was only there for a few jokes, which I'm a huge fan of Nick Fury, but I would have liked to see his character more fleshed out. Captain Marvel was good, but I feel like they didn't really give her an arc. I understand by the end of it if she needed to fix the problem she caused, but it really didn't hit me like it should have. Monica felt like she was just kind of there to even out Captain Marvel's ego and guilt her for not coming back. Spoiler alert, I'll give you a few seconds to shut the video. One more second? Okay. Monica's sacrifice at the end felt like Ezra's in Star Wars. A bit unnecessary, at least for the time being. But I can't really speak on it because it did give us a dope after credit scene. Let's talk about the after credit scene. The highlight of the movie. The after credit scene saw the return of the X-Men Beast. If you watched any of the Fox X-Men films, you'll recognize this guy. It's awesome to see him. Some people speculated that it was added in the last minute to get people hyped up for it. I'm not exactly sure, but I really enjoyed it. I see the argument that these are side characters and Marvel needs to stop pushing side characters to be main characters. I feel it's not a great argument considering our favorite heroes like Cap, Iron Man, Thor, at one point were side characters. I do get the argument that it's not a movie made for the average viewer or its core audience. I do believe a lot of people went into this movie ready to hate it. I get it. I went into this movie not expecting much, so I wasn't really disappointed. I was actually a little more surprised at how I felt about it too. My theater experience wasn't bad. It was actually quite alive, and I would say about 35 to 40% filled. I have heard some stories where there was only a few people in the theaters, but I'm not exactly sure how big the theater was and what time these people were going, but I have heard that. Now, the villain is forgettable. A lot of the movie is forgettable. I wasn't expecting this villain to be a Thanos type villain, but there was a point I had to look up her name. Her motivation was an average kind of motivation. We've seen it before, but it works. So I guess if it's not broke, why fix it? The next forgettable thing was the plot. While the characters were good, a lot of it felt bland, and coming from watching the Loki finale to that was a tough pill to swallow. I'm not going to lie, I hate to admit this, but I did fight a little bit to stay awake at some parts. Now, the theater was hot, and I went at a 9:15 p.m. showing, so I do cut it some slack, but the guy a few seats down from me was knocked out for the majority of it. He'll probably have to do a rewatch to understand what he saw when he was awake. This was meant to be kind of a side adventure for a few characters that have a linked story, if you get what I mean. The emotional moments don't really hit for me, but I'm not too invested in them as much as I am, for example, Loki. And finally, the dance musical number. I went in knowing about what would happen, so I wasn't shocked when it did happen. It wasn't terrible, but I think it definitely should be left out of any other movie. I feel like I've done more taking a doo-doo on this movie than talking about the good. The characters, like I said, kill it and carry the movie, which I was surprised to see. The visuals I also really enjoyed. The special effects weren't bad and better than some of the other Marvel movies. I liked the goofiness of the movie. This movie didn't take itself seriously, and I actually really enjoyed that. I saw people comparing it to Thor Ragnarok. I wouldn't go that far, but it does have that lighthearted tone to it. All in all, it's a skippable MCU movie if you really have no desire to see it. It's also the shortest MCU movie at an hour and 40 or an hour and 45 minutes. I saw a review that said it doesn't have much to say, but it says it quickly, and I really do believe that. Maybe a bit harsh, but like I said, it's just an okay movie. If you're a fan of these characters, you'll like it, and that's great. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad I saw it. I don't know about a rewatch, but I'm content with what the movie delivered. Anyway, I just wanted to give a quick review of the Marvels, get it out there. Let me know what you thought about it if you saw it, because I'll be reading the comments. Again, if you didn't see it, let me know why you're not seeing it. Maybe this review will steer you in the direction of seeing it. I'm not sure. I just wanted to give some of my initial reaction, my initial thoughts to it. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all on the next one. Have an incredible day.